says. Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim Watson speaking on the 30th of May. So let's have a look at these markets in what is promising to be potentially a quietish week, as we've got at least 3 bank holidays overall. There's one today from the US, and then 2 from the UK on Thursday and Friday. So it could be a slightly quieter one. News-wise, well, of course, we've got the bank holiday today. We've got FOMC speaker at 4 p.m. this afternoon. In fact, we might have a few other speakers. Let's just have a check on. Let's just go live on this. Make sure I've got data up to date here. We've got not a lot really. It's some Eurozone sentiment, etc. Low value data coming out there. Got this right, it's just checking May the 30th. Yeah, it's got a bit of extra data here. Some German data out there at 1 o'clock. That's not on my other list there, but speakers wise, where it's really after I'm sort of almost finished there, at Fed Waller at 4, ECB Nagel at 1800 hours, so quite late on there, so not a massive amount of data, but there is something which may, on a quiet day, create some volatility. As I say, I expect it to be relatively quiet in the afternoon, in particular with the US market not being on full song. Right, let's have a look at the markets themselves then. Looking at the Forex markets here. And well, Euro, I was just looking at this, it's had this sort of quite decent shove to the upside, higher lows, higher highs through the price range, so it looks like it's still in its bullish mode at this stage here. I'm sure there's going to be some divergences running across the highs here through last week and into early this week. We do have the weekly pivot below. If it was to start heading south for that, it could be a reasonable target. It's the speed of these retracements, or the frequency of these retracements, make me wonder whether we'll see a market that pulls back a little bit and it's on its sort of exhaustive area, as exhaustive part of its wave, if you like, running out of steam. Just looking at the price action at the moment, it's already done the daily pivot here. It's already hit its R1 and run into effectively a double top. So it could roll back. If it starts rolling back with any speed, it could be a bit more interesting. I'm just looking at trend lines across the lows here, looking for a break of this trend line. Might even be the start of something, but over the next day or so we could have that move back to the weekly pivot if it if it proves strong enough where we are. The pound, or the divergence works out, really is the term. Pound is still in its major downtrend, however, like the euro, it's having a bit of a retrace here, but it's in a real consolidated wedge pattern at the moment, or pennant, sitting at the moment. There you go. Did draw some lines on it, I thought I had. Again, weekly pivot below. Be interesting today just to see what happens here. It's promising to look a bit bearish to start the week here. It hasn't pushed up quite as high as the euro hasn't given us a new high. It's okay, it's broken the previous high there, but looking a little bit on the softer side. A breakdown below this whole core of moving averages, the daily pivot, could see me. I mean, I quite like it. It's got the daily S1 down there as well, so we'll see how that shapes up. Might be a reasonable opportunity this morning. Okay, dollar yen sold off here. Dollar's just as well been soft against all the majors, so no surprises it's soft against the yen as well, although another one that's sort of more consolidated when you come down the 4-hourly time frame here is are we going to see another push to the downside, or is this it? It's a real mess when you get down to the hourly time frame, and I'll leave it there, but it is in that huge wedge pattern that's you can see clearer on the 4-hourlies, but it's a bit of a fickle one of late. Aussie dollar Aussie dollar seems to be a bit more bullish overall, whereas the euro etc. is struggling last week to sort of start pushing out here. This is solidly gone, and looking just at commodity currencies as a whole have just done better, and it just seems to be on more of it. We've got this consolidation phase here last week, and then suddenly towards the end of the week there, a decent shove, and off it's gone. Coming down the time frames on this, well, it's already into its R1 area. Again, probably some divergence around here. Let's just have a look at that. Yeah, ooh, no, not really. Actually, RSI is pushed a bit higher there, so it probably started off diverging, but either way, though, I've got an untouched daily pivot below, untouched weekly pivot below. If it starts rolling over, they could come into goal, but at the moment the trend looks relatively strong on that for me. Canadian dollar, US Canadian, well, we had this consolidated phase it sort of went through, and it for quite a few days here it broke down last Thursday into Friday, taking the lows out there, and it looks like, as I said, the commodity currency is doing well here, and the Canadian dollar's doing as well as anything. I'm just looking, coming down the time frames. It's just such a lower highs. It's just done so well. It's got an untouched daily and a weekly. In fact, the untouched daily, if it was to retrace to that might give an opportunity for a move back south. At the moment, I certainly wouldn't want to be a buyer of this for those pivots, but if it gets back to the first, I'll be a seller. It may do as well again over the cross pairs, such as the Euro CAD might play out. But there we go. That's that for now. Quick look at gold and oil. Let's just click on it. It'd be good if I can click on the right one. There we go. So looking at gold up at the moment, it's bigger picture here. It's just so messy, but with that slightly softer dollar, it's gained, but it sort of went into this ugly old mode last week, pushing up off the 50 here again. I really don't like it. It's almost moving into a sort of a bit of a Gartley pattern, and it could just sort of end up as a bit of a Gartley pattern and roll backwards. You're just seeing an uncertainty. Now, Gartley pattern is normally driven by the first a wave that's come back. You get a sort of the next wave. Instead of it being a impulse wave still pushing up, it's actually a bit of an attempt, and then it breaks off afterwards. So we'll see what happens here, but it is looking equally. I mean, so just put a key reversal bar in there as well. Just looking a bit soft at the moment, even though it has had a surge through the Asian session. Okay, I don't particularly want to be on either side of it at the moment, to be fair though. Oil, looking at oil then, and well, again it's slowly shifting up, pushing up further. No surprises here with demand and availability, and we haven't even got into the US driving season yet. And well, it's shifting and pushing up higher, consolidating where it is at the moment, but we'll see what develops of it. It was quite an ugly old market for the best part of last week, in sort of running through it. It's particularly towards the end there. I just sort of, when it gets like it is at the moment, I just sort of tend to leave it. It's not even a decent swing there for me. Okay, that's pretty much it with those majors. Let's just switch charts and run into have a look at what's happened over the weekend on your favourite. And Bitcoin, it's a couple of good days there for it, really. And it's run through this morning. It's pushing up relatively strong. I'm still quite bearish on it. Pattern wise, it's still bearish until it proves otherwise. It needs to put some higher lows in there for me to be interested, but it's making a move. Whether that'll hold into today or whether we'll just see it rolling back. Ethereum, a similar sort of situation here, lower highs, Again, it's still yes, it's having a bit of a bounce, but how much for? Binance has been sort of running with Ethereum, but Binance has been doing quite well. BNB. This could come in and put a more significant higher low in on a break of the 337 even area. So there's a possible more bullishness in that. It didn't come back so low on this more recent movement, but overall none of them are overall bullish for me in terms of their movement. Let's move on and look at the indices then. So starting off looking across to Hong Kong then, and well, consolidated sort of area. As bearish as I am on these equity markets, it's well, I'm still bearish on this of course, but it just looks like a bit of a flag in a bigger picture. It's moved up a tad there. It's not massive movement. It's moved up a little bit, but I'm still, I mean, this is just really setting for me for more downside as I'm looking at it. The Nikkei, well, nice move up there, gap below of course, and it's sort of it's just got that extra bit of oomph in it at the moment. How well this will hold on, we'll see. It has put sort of a higher low in there. We're seeing it with quite a few of the markets, and I do have to say, well, as bearish as I am on them in the bigger scheme of things, you just got to allow them to have their moment. And well, as with the Nifty 50, look at that huge gap it's popped in there on the cash market. It's having said that, it's filled its previous one. Yep, it's a bit of happiness out there at the moment, but again, I'd be waiting for the bearish signs to come back through, and I might be wrong. And short term, of course, these may be opportunities as buyers get some momentum to the upside. Certainly the S&Ps here, looking at the mini futures, and they've had a decent shove back through there last Thursday, Friday, really powering on and seeing some gains. I think it might be a bit short-lived, but the thing is, we just got to accept what we're seeing at the moment, and seeing these sort of rallies going through. The Dow Jones the same here. Just is that time when you've got a thought in there, and I'm quite bearish on these equity markets, but at the same time you've got to accept, well, okay, they're rallying at the moment and they might get something more of a retracement yet. So it's no point fighting against them. In fact, it's probably some decent point going with them, depending on the time frames you're trading through. But at the moment, they're looking okay for the upside. It's the Nasdaq, but it may be the Nasdaq is the one that cracks the biggest when it goes. Moving nearer home, and we look at the CAC. Again, higher lows put in here. Just looking at that a little bit more. Bullish there, higher lows coming through there, and well, again, as I say, it's broken quite a few trends here, near-term trends, etc. with all this price action, and just looks that bit more positive, as does the DAX. Higher lows confirmed through late last week, and it sort of pushed in Friday and just carried on going. Looked at that on Friday, and looking more positive at the moment. FTSE not open quite yet, a couple of minutes to go. This is the cash price, so it's not going to be moving around here at the moment. That's where we left off on Friday. It is, as I say, the darling of the markets, and as the others are all pushing up, I expect it'll be opening up on the upside today, and maybe seeing a bit more of a continuation. This is one that could get at some point here, get towards its prior highs again there. It's the closest to any of them. Okay, I'm leaving it there. I wish you a great day's trading out there. Trade safely. Morning, Michael. Trade safely and look after yourselves. Bye for now. Here we go.